So again, we're just starting again, non-technical. We're gonna start slightly open here, right? So here I'm gonna start with something slightly different. I'm just gonna start going on my calves like this, rolling to the ball of my foot. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Come on more times. 1, 2, 3. Really dig into the floor. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right? And if you want to make it more challenging for yourself in the future, I just kind of do this. 1, 2, 3, drop. 1, 2, 3, drop. And I kind of soften to the knees. Now we're going to try to do this a bit. I'm going to now bring everything underneath here. I'm going to try to go more on my heels and open up my feet. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So here, make sure I tighten my glutes, making sure I'm being strong through my heel, through my calves, going right through my pelvis. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Here, nice and strong upright, and really squeezing down here. 1, 2, 3. Couple last times. 1, 2, 3. Last time. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good. You can shake it out a little bit. You might feel it a bit on your hip, especially if it's tight. So I usually get a tight right hip. So I kind of start using this to warm up. Now, same idea. I'm going to bring my toes slightly more underneath my belly button, underneath my hips. Except we're going to put now most of our pressure through the balls of our feet, through our toe pads, and we're going to kick our heels out. I say kick, but it's more like a swivel. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Again, trying to keep the toes underneath your belly button, not too much in front of your belly button, right? More tucked in here. Same idea. 1, 2, 3. So it's like a combination of like a calf raise, while you're also trying to isolate your thigh, your glutes. 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Couple last times. You might feel it a lot in your big toe. That's okay. Right through your arch. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Good. Right. So then from here, we're gonna switch into some knee raises, something nice and simple. I'm gonna use this as like a level bar, just wherever my elbow lands is just where I'm gonna aim at. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just rest on my side. Rest on my side. Making sure you don't bend over like this. It's almost like you're trying to sit down, right, like a little squat, but you're really gonna focus on bringing that thigh, using your hip muscles, that point of your knee, to your elbow. All you're doing with your torso is just swiveling, swivel, swivel. Not too much like this, right? You can make it more like that, but that's not the goal. The goal is just to warm up. 2 more times. 1, 2. Last time. 1, 2. Very good, right? So from here, we're gonna do some kickbacks. So I'm gonna go slightly to my side over here so you guys can see. Exactly, just like that. So I'm just gonna go here. Wherever this arm is, I bring it here, thumbs inside. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? Just nice and easy like that. Try not to rock too much this way, right? You can do that on your own, but it's gonna be unnecessary because you're just gonna be using too much of your body weight. It's more about control, right? You can like squat a little bit if you need to. If you can't reach your hand, that's okay. You just kind of leave your thigh heavy and use the back of your calf, the back of your knees to kick and kick and kick. It's almost like you're trying to scrape gum off your shoe. A couple more times. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and good, right? So again, this just kind of your lower body kind of get the blood pumping a bit. Nothing too technical. Now from here, I'm gonna go into like a slight squat. So I'm gonna soften my knees. Remember, this is locked, right? This is locked. I'm just gonna soften, right? I should be able to bounce a bit through it, right? Like I'm on a boat, I'm like surfing or skateboarding again. So something like this. And from here, I'm just gonna go into. Let's see, what can I do for you guys? I'm gonna start isolating the hips a little bit. So I'm gonna go to swing, swing. 1 and 2. Okay. 1 and 2. So that might again, right? So that's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So I go up a little bit with it. 1, 2. Right? It's like I'm trying to push a door with the hip, hip, hip. Right? You kind of just try to keep it nice and steady. Try not to do too much of this, right? And not too much of this. You just here, here, Right, keep it nice and stable. Boom. 2 more times. 1, 2. Last time. 1, 2. And that's it. Very good. Now what we're gonna do is this. We're gonna just kind of point our feet straight ahead of us. We're gonna bring our feet like this and slightly turn out. Is this correct right here? Like that. So you're trying to aim with your big toe. I'm gonna have Amanda face you guys too because she's really good at this. It's gonna help you stretch through your ankle. 1, 2, 3, and switch. 1, 2, 3, and switch. The key here is to really start, let your foot go all the way straight first, and then as you reach the end point, climax of tension, you curve a little bit, aiming with your big toe. Is that correct? Yeah, so she's saying you can graze against the floor, right? And that would be the more technical way of doing it, but the main goal is going to be just hover through it. You don't have to put too much pressure through it to the floor. Again, just kind of hover through it, hitting the floor, point straight ahead. Here, and straight ahead. And here, and straight ahead. Here, straight ahead. Here, straight ahead. I'm gonna finish up here, good. I'm gonna go a little bit into my torso. Something simple, again, I'm gonna soften my knees a bit. I'm gonna pretend I'm gonna open up, like I'm trying to open up a fridge door, or like the fridge, right? I'm trying to peek in what's going on in here, and then close away, right? Peek in here, right? My knees are still soft, right? Because again, I'm just trying to absorb the momentum to my chest. 1, 2, right? And you can squeeze your shoulder blades in your elbow, right? 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? That's a little bit faster. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And just cave in, boom. And good, right? To finish up a little bit with the arm so I can pass it on to Amanda. What I'm gonna do here is this. Swing and swing. Again, just soften these a bit. Every time just try to go a little bit higher. We're just going front and back. We're not going out and around. You can let your wrist rotate as you go up and down. Try to go slightly higher every time you go up and slightly more reach behind as you go back. Couple more times. And good. So now we're gonna do the sideways one. Same idea. So right here. 1, 2. 1, 2, right? So you don't wanna like throw your arms like this, right? Not too much. You kinda wanna control the weight as it drops down and send the momentum slowly and steady back up as you go up. Right? So here I have very tight shoulder on the right. My whole right side is like very always tight and more prone to injury because I've had injuries before from other contact sports. But I had to try to warm up like this to kind of get the blood pumping and the fluids going in your joints. One more times. And last time. There we go. Right. And then last but not least, for now, again, I'm skipping a few things that I did last week. I don't want to take too much time. I'm gonna go into the neck. So here, what I did last week was I'm gonna put pressure from my left hand onto my right shoulder, slightly press down on the shoulder blade, not on the actual shoulder part, and on the shoulder trap area between the neck. The muscle part, right, is like a button. It should be kind of squishy, unless you're like a bodybuilder and you're really strong right here. Once you have some pressure, slightly turn to the other side, not too much, just here, diagonal, and slightly lean. Once you feel like a pull or like a nice like stretch, just hold it there and let the pressure go through the shoulder. If there's too much pressure here, release a bit and let the head fall a bit. Again, don't actually make your head go like this, just let the tension go through here, the center part, and keep it straight. Once you're gonna feel it stretch out more, you can look away slightly more. Right? Can open my mouth a bit. Alright, you might feel some stretch here. And that's good enough for now. You don't want to overstretch that. Same thing with the other arm. I'm gonna play some of these songs for Amanda because I'm cutting into her time a bit. So here, same idea, pressure here, look away, right? If you feel too much pressure, it means you're putting too much pressure on this trap. On this here, it's just enough to kind of feel where you are at. Look away, slightly, right? Just a 45-degree, slightly stretch. It's enough such that your arm doesn't do this. It's just to keep this like, okay, this is here. Once you feel that this is perhaps too much for you, then you can go to the shoulder, actual bone part of the area. And then from there, you shouldn't have too much tension. You could actually give a nice level feel to what you're doing. You can look up away a bit, right? You can open up your mouth a bit. Alright, you feel the stretch on the side of your face. And that's pretty much at your return, right? And that's it. So I'm gonna pass it on to Amanda. I'm gonna repeat some of the songs, Lento, and this one, Espuma de Recife.
Hello guys, we're gonna do the same warm-up we did last time. So if you remember, we started with our heads and we're gonna do our neck again. We're gonna look up and down. Go. Down, up. And like Jason said, nice and easy, we're not trying to hurt our necks. One more time, one more 8 count. Look side, side, we're gonna look. 2, 3, 4. Then we're gonna do our head side, side. So we're gonna go side, side, nice and easy. One more 8 count. And now we're gonna do head circles. 6, 7, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Switch sides. 6, 7, go. We're gonna move to our shoulders, coming up and down. Up, down. Kind of like you're just shrugging. A little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that is nice and easy, so we're warming up. Now we're gonna send our shoulders forward and back. So think forward, back. Nice and controlled, just warming up. One more 8 count. So what we did last time, we did our shoulder circles. We're going to do that. So if you guys were with us last week, tune into that and think about what I told you guys. And if not, we're just going to work it as much as we can. Right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like you're holding a bucket of water, you're just moving your shoulders. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, switch. Other way. 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more time. 2, 3. I lied one more time. Wait, right now. Chest is gonna come out and in. We're gonna go out, in. Just like we did with Jason. But I always like to do this in my warm-up because I like to keep everything, make sure your chest is nice and warm, especially for what we're gonna do today. Shoulder blades coming together, then back. One more time. We're gonna go side, side. Ready? 2, 6, go. Side, side. And we're just moving our top here. We're not moving anything else. So now we're gonna move into chest circles. So we're gonna go forward, side, back, side. We're gonna do forward, side, back, side. Slow. Here we go. 5, 6, 7, go. Forward, side, back, side. Forward, side, back, side. Go back, back, side, forward, side, back, side, forward, side, go forward, forward, side, back, side, forward, side, back, go back, back, side, forward, side, back, side, forward. We're gonna do a circle. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Other way. Switch. Now we're gonna do both at the same time. So we're gonna go forward, side, back, side. Then we're gonna do a circle. We're gonna go forward, side, back, side, forward, side, back, side, circle, circle, forward, side, back, side, forward, side, back, side, circle, circle. One more time. Side, back, side, forward, side, back, side, circle. Other way. Side, back, forward, back, side, side, forward, back. I'm sorry, I counted that. I said that wrong. But circle, circle. Side, back, side, forward, side, back, side, forward, side, circle, circle. One more time. Back, side, forward, side, back, side, forward, side, circle, circle. Shake it out. And we're gonna move to our hips. So we're gonna go forward and back with our hips. We're gonna clench, back. Ready? Here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. Forward, back, forward, back. My knees are nice and bent. Sending our pelvic to the ceiling. Pelvis, pelvis to a ceiling. One more time. And now we're gonna go side, side. So for this, I always say I want to work first with straight knees, and then we're going to move into bent knees. But for right now, keep your knees straight, and you're going to take your hip and bring it up to your rib cage here. So we're going to go like this. Send the right hip up, and left. Right, left. One more time. And we're going to do forward, side, back, side. So here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. Forward, side, back, side. My knees are bent. Forward, side, back, side, forward, side, back, side. And we'll go back, back, side, forward, side, back, side, forward, side. One more time. Back, side, forward, side. And we're going to do the same thing that we did with our hips. I mean with our chest. We're going to do the static forward, side, back, side, then the circle, circle. So here we go with the music. Ready? 5, 6, 7, little fast. Forward, side, back, side. Forward, side, back, side. Circle, circle. Forward, side, back, side. Forward, side, back, side. Circle, circle. Forward, side, back, side. Forward, side, back, side. Circle, circle. Switch it up. We're going to the other side. Side, back, side, forward. Still counted that wrong. Sorry. Side, back, side, forward. Circle, circle. Side, back, side, forward. Circle, circle. Shake it out. I think I might have done that a little bit different on that side, but we have the gist of it. We're gonna do something similar to Jason, but now we're gonna brush our leg up, point it, flex, back down, and then we'll start into what we're gonna do today. But this is just so you can feel a stretch through your leg here up until your foot. So point, flex, point, down, point, flex, point, down. If you have a little bit of trouble with balance, just hold on to a chair or something, because you really want to feel this in your leg. One more. And switch. One more. And shake it out. And we're gonna get started. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with our hips, and we're gonna focus on hips and body rolls for this. And I'm gonna connect it to bachata, but I wanted to make sure that when we do our hips, that we understand how we're moving our hips and understanding what we're doing with our body. So like in our last class, we warmed up with some figure eights, so I'm gonna explain those really quickly again. And then I'm gonna, so we can have them warmed up, and then I'm gonna show you some different techniques. So when we did our hips, we did our static figure eight, and then we did our fluid figure eight. So as I explained before, we're gonna do, our hip is gonna go to the left corner front, left corner back, right corner front, right corner back. So we're having like this X kind of motion with our hips. So we're gonna go forward, back, then we're gonna go across, forward, back. And this is a figure eight with your hips, but a static figure eight. So it's not exactly rounded. We'll get there. So let's try this a couple times. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, back, 2, across, 3, and back, 4. 1, back, 2, cross, 3, back, 4. Cross, forward, back, side, back. So make sure when you're doing this movement that you are not, you're still going forward and back with your hip, because if you're doing this, you're forgetting about the back or you're forgetting about the forward. So you want to make sure you're very clear. You're very clear with what you're doing with your hips. So if you're going forward, you're going forward. If you're going back, you're going back. And right now is a good time to, when you're practicing, always to over exaggerate within your body limits. So when you do a dance like for a performance or when you're social dancing, you're probably going to do the movement a little bit smaller, but it's good to practice bigger safely, because that's how you get more flexibility and motion with your hips. So let's try it with the music. 5, 6, 7, 8. Cross forward, back, cross forward, back. 2 more times. 1, 2, cross, 3, 4. One more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to do a little bit faster. So now we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we're getting closer to the fluid motion, but we're still doing a static motion because we want to make sure we hit those 4 points, because otherwise we don't have a full figure 8 motion. Here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's great if you have a mirror to look at and see what your hips are doing. Otherwise, you can probably just look down at them and say, are they going in this figure 8 motion, or are they hitting all the 4 points? And so we have this, so now we can round out these motions. So instead of going 1, 2, we're going to come forward 1 and make it like a half circle or a half oval. So we're going to round up to make it 2. So if you just try that, so 1, 2. You're making like a half circle with your hip. You're still hitting those points, but you're not hitting them as sharp. It's more of a fluid movement. And when you become comfortable with it, you can extend it to the other side, making sure that you're coming across in this diagonal. So we can try with the music. 5, 6, let's do it slow. 7, 8. So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. My knees are straight. If you notice, my feet aren't moving at all. And I'm doing that on purpose because I will move and make it more of a bigger motion eventually. But right now we just want to make it solely our hip motion. So we can try with this song a little bit faster. 6, 7, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. A little intimidating. But if it's intimidating, make it small. So if we're counting it out, we're going forward, round, forward, round. Both sides. So if you can hear it with the music, the drum that's hitting, or I don't know if that's a drum, but the beat that's hitting, I'm going round, 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 round. And really make sure, if you can't do it fast, I want you to do it slow, because I want you to practice the right motion. I don't want you to do it fast and practice the wrong motion, because then you're practicing the wrong motion. So if you need to do this, that's perfectly fine, because then we can work up to this. Also, if your feet are too spread apart, this motion becomes really difficult. So if your feet are out here, this becomes like a different movement, and you're not feeling it as much as in your hips. But if your feet are closer together, right now, you can feel it in your hips. Yeah, about shoulder width apart. So shake it out. And the next thing I want to introduce into this is bringing our hip up and around. Okay, Jason wants to add something really quick.
So now, for some of us who have hip mobility issues or are prone to either hip injuries or have like, again, just have very tight or tight hips, going, just as you said, building up the speed is most important. A couple of things that will work for you, that have worked for me, because I have, again, the right side of my hip is usually more troublesome for me, more problematic, is really trying to grip the floor. You want to keep your knees straight, right? But it's not just that. It's not just about locking the legs. It's about really feeling the motion through the muscles, right? Because sometimes people say lock, and you'll lock like this, the arms, right? The elbows, your body. But it just puts a lot of unnecessary strain on the joints, right? And especially for those of us who, again, have done a lot of sports or have had injuries or are just a bit older, we'll definitely feel these things compared to someone who is either better trained or has a better overall body health or is younger, honestly, right? So a couple of things that I do is try to, really start more centered a bit, right? If I kind of can go this way, then I'm okay. How far can I actually move my hip? Okay, I'm kind of comfortable here, right? So I really try to feel the stretch through my pelvis, right here through the side of my obliques, right? I kind of just try to like rock a bit, and like I use also the other side of my body to push this side. So this part of my glute, the part of my abdomen pushes this side as well, right? So it's not just this side, because then from here what ends up happening is you end up pinching joints and pinching nerves. Same thing if you just throw your body one way, that's how you end up hyperextending something without realizing it. So part of it is going to be really engaging. What I do is really flex my toes, flex my calves up through my thigh, my quads, and my glutes to really feel that motion, right? And yes, the goal is going to be straight-legged, but if you have a little bit of a give, that's okay. But you definitely don't want to actively move the knees like here and here, correct? And then that itself will help move the hip joint out of socket, which again you don't want. So what you want to do is try to flex, right? You can start soft at the knees, and then here, right? So here I envision like a scraping motion here, right? Like I'm trying to scrape something. For example, Amanda, could you hold this pillow right next to my hip? Right? So if I just go, right, you could just see I'm just kind of like poking at it. Compared to if I go here and I scrape against it, here, and I scrape, see? It's like I'm really trying to scratch my hip on this. So that's like the scraping motion you want to have, right? So let's say, Amanda, let's say bring both pillows and bring them both on each side. Go right behind me. And sometimes it helps to have these visuals, because sometimes you'll be like, oh, they make it look so easy, right? So have a little bit closer here, right? Just like that, right? About a hand's width. Again, that's just about as far as you need to go. You don't really have to go more than a hand's width, right? So from here, I scrape. Here, I scrape. Here, I scrape, right? So the scrape means I keep my belly button, my pelvis in line, like have a line here, and I scrape. Here, scrape. What I'm not doing is this, right? I'm not like trying to hip bump, right? It's more of a softer hip tap, and as you tap it, then you scrape against it. As if like this is like another weird analogy is like this is like a lottery card, and you have like a bunch of coins that scrape against it. You want to scrape, and every time you scrape, you're revealing more of that card, right? Again, the other thing is you don't want to do is kind of just here, 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 right? Because then it's like it becomes this thing. Again, it's good to start like this if you want to get an idea of like having accuracy. Like, okay, I'm hitting the same spot every time. Bah, bah. That's good exercise to do that. But once you kind of get that, the hang of that, that you're having accuracy built, then you want to scrape and add the motion. Scrape, boom. Sorry, tap, scrape. Then tap, scrape, transfer. And the transfer is right immediately into the other scrape. Boom. Right? So that's one way to do it. And again, if you feel like you're getting pinching here, really try to flex through your toes, through your heels, through your arch, and try to find that balance in between. Really using your abdomen and breathing in through your diaphragm as well. Okay? So continuing with the man.
Yeah, so exactly what Jason said. We're not doing this movement because that's what we're going to be doing. We're doing this so we can know which point, what we're trying to hit. Because sometimes what I see is when people do this figure 8, they'll do like maybe like the forward, but they won't do the back. So like the figure 8 is like this kind of really small circle instead of the big motion that it is. So that's why I do the static, the front, back, because when you do that, you kind of remember, oh, I have to go back with my hip. And that makes it easier. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the same thing like we did in the warm-up. We're gonna do static, 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 circle, circle. Static, 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 circle, circle. So here we go. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Circle, circle. Forward, back, circle, circle, forward, back, circle, circle, forward, back, circle. Couple more times. Really make sure you're hitting that back one and coming across. So if you don't come across, it's really hard to do the end of that figure 8 motion. One more time. And shake it out. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit to the figure 8 motion. So now we're just going to work with the fluid. Okay. And we're just going to we're going to work on bringing our hip up. So we're going to accomplish this with our feet. This is a very like technical process, but it's going to connect to our bachata basic later. So when we do this figure 8 motion, I want to make it bigger and I want to bring my hip up. It's going to come up and around. Up and around. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. I'm going to come up. Sorry, I went the other way. Up and around. Up, round. Did I do that right? No, I didn't. So you come up, your hip is like up backwards, then you come around, down. And as you do this, your hip is doing like a bigger motion because now instead of a flat plane, you're doing like a bigger plane. So with the basic, if I was to do this, I would go 1, 2, 3, pop. So the application of this is I'm coming up and down. So if I do it with the traveling basic, go 1, 2, 3, hit. And that's what gives our bachata movement like a little bit more of a pop, if you choose to do so in like a traditional or any type of style. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a normal basic. I'm doing a normal basic here. But when I come to the 4, I bring my feet in like always. I'm gonna come up. I'm on my my heavy leg is my left leg. My right leg is my light leg, and I'm gonna come push through my right foot, come up, down. And I'm not doing this. I'm pushing through the floor with my right leg and sending this hip up and down. So if I do this, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So it's a very fast motion. So we're gonna do it slow to start. So here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5, 6, 7, and 8. And remember to sit back onto your other hip. So like when you come up, you have to come back down. So it's like a pendulum movement with your hip. So we're always going to be doing that with bachata when we're swaying back and forth. You want to think of making sure you're coming with this pendulum swinging back and forth, if that makes sense. Like a pendulum goes like this. So let's try it with the basic a couple times. 5, 6, 7, do it with the music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5, 6, 7, and 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5, 6, 7, and 8. So you can see it's on that last part, it's a very syncopated, very fast motion. But since your feet, if you do this with your feet close together, it's really easy. If you do it with big steps, it's still attainable, it's just a little bit tiring and a little bit harder because your feet are more spread apart. But it's possible. But if you're starting off, it's easier to keep your feet closer together. So you can do this hip up and down. So just think your hips are like a pendulum going back and forth. So we can do this with our bachata basic. We can do this in place. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hit. As you can see, my hips are kind of doing the figure 8 because I'm so used to doing that. You can do that, or you can do your hips side to side. But I'm really using my feet and my knees and pushing through the floor. And I'm very grounded in this movement, even though I'm not very a grounded dancer yet. I want to use the floor as much as I can. And lastly, let's try it with like a sway step. So 1, 2, 3, hit. So we're doing like the same movement, just a little bit different. Instead of going side to side or in, we're going to go out a little bit. Here we go. Alright, nice job, guys. We're gonna move on from that. Oh, what I want to do. I want to do a little bit of hip rolls before we went into body movement. Thank you. It's tiring. Alright. So I want to do some hip rolls. So whether you're a guy or a girl, you're gonna do a hip roll, whether that be a big hip roll or a small hip roll. So in bachata, we usually do maybe we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. So you can do, if you're a guy or a girl, I'm going to teach you how we can use our hip movement that we just did and apply it here. So like our figure 8 motion, I told you that there's points that I want you to hit, and this is the same thing. So when we do our hip roll, let's just do it to our right to start. You want to hit that side. We're not doing a 4 points this time, but you want to make sure you're hitting the side and then coming back and around, side, together. And we're going to step in with our left foot. So we're stepping out with our right, around, back, together. And you can add the hip movement that we just did if you want. If you don't want to, you don't have to. But I wanted to say, when you're doing this, your hip is going to go to the side, but not throwing your hip, so you don't want to do this. You want to have it nice and gentle, go back, then around, to the side, and together. So with a basic, that would look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more time. And what I want to talk about with this in particular is a couple things. So when you're doing a hip roll, you should keep your legs straight as much as possible, because if you don't, you could be ending up doing this. And not to say that that's wrong, but it does kind of look a little funny if you're doing it like this. It's better to keep your knees straight because then it's more controlled, and you can have everything underneath you rather than throwing your body like this. So that's why we keep our knees straight. What I also like to do sometimes, I don't always do this, but if you turn your head to the side, your hip will usually follow you. So instead of it going like too crazy out of control, you look to the side and it goes back and around and together. And lastly, for this right now, we're going to talk about our feet. So we're stepping out with our right foot, and then we're going to shift our weight over, come back, and our weight is kind of like on the latter half of our foot. On our latter half of our foot, like on our heels. Well, not on our heels, because we don't ever want to dance like this. But you want it to be more like the flat of your foot. So when you come around, the flat of your foot, and then you're going to roll through to the top of your feet together. And again, the same thing applies with the how far apart your feet are. It tends to be easier when you have your feet closer together because it's more controlled. You can do it a big motion, but just be aware if you do a big motion, you have to use more control in your body, and you have to just make sure that you're not going to hit anyone, that like you're not going to fall over. This is a couple of things to keep in mind when you're doing like a big movement. So let's try it with the small movement with the basic a couple times. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Circle and together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Circle and together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Circle and together. Basic. We're going to do basic that side. And we're going to do the hip circle this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I think I just switched it by accident. Oops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more time. 5, 6. Basic. 1, 2, and hip circle this way. One more time. Then we're going to go back to the other side. Basic. And that's it for our hips and body circles. So thank you guys for tuning in. That's all we got today for me, but we're going to move into Jason, and Jason's going to talk about something else. I believe he's going to have more of a salsa focus for today. So without further ado, here's Jason.
Okay, cool. So again, that's a step up from what we did last week with Amanda's hip movement. This time she focused more on bachata. And again, it's those small details that will make a difference in your overall habits in your dancing. Again, what I want to keep doing as you go back to um, I don't want to say just group classes, but like more, I guess, elaborate classes when we go back into like the studio and stuff like that is when I give you guys more details and do things that are just that I feel go underappreciated in the dance scene and things that aren't as practiced as some of other people have had the chance to do in, I guess, more comprehensive studios and lessons. So that's really good stuff that we have from Amanda here. Now going into the salsa stuff, again, I'm gonna try to focus more on like a more street style type of stuff as far as technique goes, and I focus more on the feel. But when you have the balance of both technicality and feel, you have a deeper connection to what you want to do and how accurately you express that, which is the key to being perceived and feeling as a more advanced and efficient dancer. All right. And so in salsa, we usually end up doing kind of just like 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, right? So a couple of things I'm gonna go over today. Actually, I'm gonna go over a bit of like what I do, particularly with footwork, and this can transfer a lot into bachata and salsa. But I tend to like footwork a lot, and in salsa, it's very fun. And is more challenging in salsa too because there's so many musical interpretations to it. But as far as today, I'm going to focus on three basic things. One is just the salsa step, from developing from just a flat step, right, to more pronounced step through the rolling of the foot, through that counter motion when you're pushing off, right, and then letting that kind of flow, 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 right. So it's like that counter movement that you constantly have, and kind of knowing when to use that and how that actually affects your dance, right? But pretty much just want to stay in place. I can just do a side step, more grounded, right? When I'm more grounded, I try not to lock my knees, because then from here it hurts my knees if I lock my knees, right? If I really toughen up my knees, right? What I want to do is soften the back of my knees and let my thighs and my calves really kind of find that impact. Obviously starting with the ball of my foot first, right? With the arch. Those are the two main things that you start with. Boom, 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 right? So again, it just soften that. And then that in itself, when you go into the basic step, will take you to a kind of this motion that is not as intensive on your energy, on your stamina, and is more efficient. And at the same time, you actually have more of a feel. Boom, boom, right? And it's expressed most obviously through the hips, right? Boom. When you soften these a bit, bah. Right? You can provide more distinction here. When I be more upright, I may go. So here, I'm dancing what I call through my knees and ankles, right? Meaning my thighs are sticking together, and I'm choosing just to kind of roll off the foot. Slow motion would be me going, boom. See, I'm just kind of sticking out from my knee through my ankle. That's what I call dancing through the knees and ankles. Boom. Right? So that's pretty much all in there. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. And this is what most instructors mean when they say dance small or take small steps. Some instructors assume that just by saying small that you're going to do everything else that goes into it. But sometimes some of us appreciate a more, I guess, detailed approach into what we're doing, right? Because someone's small step could be this, right? If I'm 6 foot tall, my small step is going to be twice, 3 times as big as someone who's my height, which is like 5'6", right? It's all depends on your body mechanics, right? You could be similar heights, but someone could be slightly longer in the legs, right? Someone could be slightly longer in the arms, right? So all these things are mechanics in motion, mechanics applied through a dance. So as you're doing the basic, right, I can start applying things that Amanda mentioned in the bachata. I can go out, boom, ba, out, boom, ba, out, boom, ba, out, right? So this connects with what Amanda mentioned with the figure eights with bringing up the hip, right? And this goes for gentlemen as well, right? Obviously with the ladies it's more stereotypical that they use their hips more pronounced and more actively, and they do more shapes with it, right? They kind of a lot of like up, right? Lots of ups, a lot of figure eights around. But even with the gentleman himself, the main core of the dance is letting that motion travel through the toes, through the ankles, through the knees, through the hips, up into the abdomen, rib cage, exiting down up the head, right? So again, you could travel that up and down. It's pretty much a wave going through your body, and you choose how to kind of let it express itself. Now, as I go into forward things, let's say I want to do the crossing over step, boom, boom, ba. Super simple, right? You may think, oh, I just kind of step over, boom, boom. But some of us do have trouble with it, and it's normal. It's perfectly fine. One simple thing I do, remember when we did this little exercise where we pointed the foot down, right? Kept it straight through the middle and rotated slightly. It's that combined with a little hinge at the knee. So notice how I'm not really picking my thigh up. It's just enough to clear the knee to here. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, right? So this stretching motion here is for me to find the floor with the ball of my foot and the big toe. As I bring it here, if I give it an angle this way, you see that the toe is still making contact with the floor even as I bring it in here all the way to a full cross, right? I'm just going for a partial merge at the front, partial cross at the front. 1, see? Not all the way through. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Now as I go into these little, stretching, keeping things to the center, I also gotta let my torso go with it a bit. Yes, I can do this and keep this super straight, but I gotta do this knowingly that I'm gonna be fighting against my own body. It's always good to have a little give, but also being clear about your distinction. So I'm gonna let this go, give a bit here. See, you can see to the side, but I'm still being strong through my top. So where's the give? The give is centered around my center of my body, which is my abdomen. If I try to keep my abdomen rigid and do this here, it's a very strenuous motion. It's much more likely that you're gonna strain your muscle here. And this is how tennis players end up hurting themselves, even some baseball players, because they're not letting this motion go all the way through the torso, through the hip, through the pelvis, through the abdomen, right? If I would just go like this, right, I'm gonna end up hurting myself. Compared to if I go this full motion, think of it like that. So as I'm going into this, there's a little give in the center. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. From this side, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Cool. All right. So now, how do we bring this full circle to kind of work on our fundamental motion and make each step slightly more distinct and slightly more personal to us? With the basic, see here, I'm trying to lead through the ball of my foot first. Yes, I can be more grounded, meaning I'm stepping more on my arch and my heel at the same time, but that shouldn't really be your goal, right? There should be a subset of your basic step, meaning your standard is how you protect yourself and also how you consistently and accurately represent the dance and the motion you're doing in the dance. So here, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. See here on the ball of my foot. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. And as I let this loosen here, right, I'm just letting my knees be soft. Everything's still underneath my navel in the center of my body, right? But just by doing this, it already adds this what people like about the dancing, especially with Latin dancing, which is the emphasis on the hips. Whether you're a guy or a girl, this is what is the emphasis of a dance. It doesn't look or feel like you're dancing salsa unless you let your hips go a bit, right? What you do it with everything else is what gives you that personality of being either more masculine or feminine, and that's completely fluid and up to you. Obviously, people who are a bit more traditional, more conservative, right? They may be like, well, a guy needs to dance more like a guy, and a lady needs to dance more like a lady, and that's perfectly fine. But through my personal ideology and the way that me and Amanda teach, we try to make sure that you guys understand how to distinguish yourself however you want to distinguish yourself, and making sure that it's inclusive to all kinds of dancing personalities and people first and foremost, right? So we've had guys and girls that switch roles. We have had guys who have come to Amanda's ladies time. Guys have had guys who learn how to follow. I've had same thing, ladies who really like the more, I guess, stoic, more rigid dancing that's again stereotypical of a guy's dancing who also lead. So at the end of the day, these are the tools that I invite you to use and share with me to further develop your dancing in a more consistent manner. That's more fun and accurate, right? The more you feel like you're confident in what you're doing, that what you think you're doing in your head is accurately done to your body, actually represented, the more confident you become in your overall journey of dancing, right? If a right turn feels like a right turn, you'll do it more often. Now, another thing. So we have two things that we just reviewed. Rolling through the foot, boom, boom, rolling through the foot. 1, 2, 3. Now notice here, another thing. I'm not finishing ankle to ankle. I'm letting this big toe go slightly in the center of this arch here. Boom, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Quick, quick, slow, and quick, quick, slow, and right? That's very important, especially when you're dancing salsa, because the dance is constantly in motion. It's like has this really rubber bandy feel compared to westernized bachata, which is on the line. 2, 3, tap. 1, 2, 3, tap. Salsa is very much a smaller window of forgiveness, and it constantly pushing you to move in and out of a slot. 1, 2, 3. As I step through onto my front foot, I'm actually pushing with my back leg and pushing back off my front foot. Boom. Pushing forward. I'm pushing away with my front foot. Pushing away with my back foot. And that's how I add this emphasis here. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Right, and as you get more advanced into that, that little motion can travel up to your chest. Right? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Quick, quick, slow. Right? And that's very important. The quick, quick, slow when you're dancing on one. Quick, quick, slow. Quick, quick, slow. Quick, quick, slow. It has a good general feel where you're dancing the music. Of course, there's instruments like the clav, which will also guide your steps, whether you're dancing on 2, on 1, or a different style of a Caribbean-derived dance like son, mambo, guaguancó. These are, again, this is very distinct hints of what you're doing. Now, why does this matter for the dancing in general? It'll help guide the mechanics of your body. Right? You won't feel rushed. Like, I have time to go here. Right? So here I can bend. I can keep it more straight-legged. Right? But either way, I'm still rolling through that foot. Still extending to the center. See here? And I'm still making sure this goes underneath my center, so I can travel that. So that's going to be the distinct, especially when you get into movements that are more forward-based. Right? Because then from here, it's like you start understanding where you are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. See, returning here, making sure I train myself to roll on that foot is gonna help me do quick changes. Literally, like, switch my weight on a dime, turn on a dime, so that way I can transfer that motion more accurately. So I guess the main thing I'm trying to focus on here for you guys is the body movement here. It starts with isolations, right here. 1, 2, kind of like a salsa step, right? Keeping through the middle. I slightly rotate out. Through the middle, but slightly just rotate it. That's it. Boom. Using my big toe to find the floor. And really stretching through here to this part. Mainly here. Right? Like this. So then as I'm doing my step, I actually try to do I'm not going to bend at the knee. I'm not going to stretch out at the knee. I'm actually going to keep the knee bent. But see here, the ankle is still straight. So as I'm going, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. Right? I'm like really grounded, really going through the floor. Right? I really push up. Boom, boom. Up. Boom, boom. Up. Boom, boom. Up. Boom, boom. Right? And this is stereotypically seen as like the more dramatic movement to the hip here. And again, it doesn't have to be that far. I'm literally half a foot's width. But once you find your motion through here, like really lifting here, you're able to transfer that. 1, 2, 3. See here? I'm soft through the knees. This is more straight leg, but I'm still switching. Okay? Yes. Yes. Yeah, so what Amanda mentioned is like a figure eight motion, but it's figure eight motion front and back, right? And again, it's these little things that will connect to each other. So again, the mechanics are very universal to a lot of other dances like the salsa, bachata, or Latin dancing in particular. But especially depending on the dance style you use, there's certain things that are more critical to the dance. And Latin dancing, dancing through the ankles, through the knees, rotation through the hips is very critical and very much the core of the dancing, right? Those are some of the three most fundamental movements of the salsa, right? You don't really see hip movement in hip hop, right, and ballet in the same manner you see in Latin dancing because they have those similar movements, but it's not at the same principal core as Latin dancing. So to make something that to feel like bachata and salsa, and then again accurately express it, it's important that you really get in touch with this motion, get in touch with your own side of that. Whether you think you're getting in touch with your more Latin or feminine side, it's not just that, it's literally getting in touch with your own body, right? Learning to bring that motion through accurately, right? And it may feel weird at first, and you'll be like, I'm just doing this, right? But then it's like, wait, I'm transferring, really feel, again, the stretch through the muscle, right? So here, right here, as I'm going into this, right? Part of it is here. If I punch myself in the gut here, this is more soft than this side. This side is more flexed, is more contracted, right? So here, right? So as I push through, I switch, and that's the tricky part, right? Because I'm going here, boom, boom, here, right? And that's where the difficulty comes because you're learning how to transfer 1, 2, 3, 5, and you're trying to do it without doing this, right? And again, that's okay at first, but try to really visualize, use a mirror, record yourself, or use a friend to help guide you. 1, 2, 3. Really go up, let yourself rise. It's going to be an asymmetrical rise, meaning this is going to be much more grounded than this side, right? Yeah, so part of it that Amanda's wanted me to emphasize again is the rolling through the foot, right? But I don't want to focus too much on that. I want to give you some more drills right now. Check, any questions? What time is it? Okay. And what's the running time? Hour 12. Okay. So we have 15 more minutes, and then we'll finish up. About 15 minutes. So the drills that I want to give you guys is this. I'm going to come a little bit closer. I'm going to give you 3 things that you can just do in regular dancing, right? Focus on a soft knee approach. 1, 2, 3. I'm literally just opening up at the hips. Boom. And making sure I'm still rolling through the ball of my foot, even though it's more flat. Right, from the forward it'll be 1, 2, 3. Right. So when I say soft knees, you're always gonna have a slight give bend at the knee, and I'm never gonna fully lock the legs. I'm gonna get close to it, but I'm not gonna fully lock. Boom, boom. See, I'm rising, but it's not fully locked. Boom, boom, lock. Boom. Again, this forces the joints not to be the point of impact as much, or the point of max tension. It forces the muscles to really carry the weight, as you should, right? Number 2, I'm gonna have you guys kind of just bring this out. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Right, and this is similar to what we did last week. The difference here is I want you guys to really like extend it, shift, back, extend, shift, back, extend, shift, back. So here, really make sure this goes up. Here, see? And again, I'm really exaggerating it right here. As I go here, 1, right? 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1. Right? It's like a little scrape. 1, scrape, boom. You know, I don't have to send it all the way back. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. But again, if you feel comfortable with your body doing that, then go for it. The main concern for me would be if you're going here and then kind of really just doing this and missing that scrape, you're gonna pinch your hip. So I'd rather you do this. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Send it back. Boom. Send the loop back, right? And as you get more comfortable with it, boom, bah, right? And even as a gentleman, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. I just emphasize my strength here through the torso. Ba, ba, right? The side step with the hip. See how I have that bounce? Because I'm soft through the knee, and I can use my thighs and my calves to have the bounce. Ba, right? And here I just kind of shrug my shoulder a bit. Very subtle. Ba. Boom. Boom. Right? And from here, you can start adding crosses. Boom. 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 Right? So things like that. And then to finish up for now, we're gonna do this. Into the what's gonna help you do a lot of footwork in the future. Boom. Straight, cross slightly, straight together. Straight, cross slightly, straight together. Straight, boom, straight together. Again, as I rise, I'm not fully locking like this, right? You can build up to that lock, but again, that's not gonna be my goal because the more you focus on the locking, the more you're likely to hyperextend or overly strain your muscles. You're gonna be having the muscle take on most of that impact. Up, 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 up. And power's gonna help you is this. Actually going to here, right? My foot, you may think I had to keep my feet perfectly straight. You're gonna let your feet get slightly pronated outward, keeping these parts of your ankles and your calves underneath you as much as possible, right? Because depending on your body type, you may be more bow-legged, right? You may be really straight-legged, you may be kind of inward in, right? So try your best to kind of meet 3 points. The heels, the ankle bones right here, part of the side of your calves, and your ankles, right? So if your body type is more like this, of course it's going to take you a lot longer to get all the way here. But we always have the intention of doing so. Every time you practice, you're going to correct your body posture. Same thing if you're more like this of a dancer, right? This is your body type. That's okay. Just try to really practice these little motions, these little up. Practice these right here. So it'll help straighten out your body by using your own muscles to stretch the structure of your skeletal system, thus realigning, right? So do all this together, here, right? So I'm not just pointing on my leg, I'm also going through my pelvis. Here, right? This is without the pelvis, this is with the pelvis. Boom. Boom. So it almost becomes almost like a little hip raise. But I'm not really focusing on my hip, I'm focusing on my pelvis. Hoo, hoo. And I do this little breathe out, hoo, because there's a lot of tension that goes on through my abdomen, through my pelvis, right? If you feel yourself running yourself out like this, roll your shoulders back like Amanda has taught you, and just kind of keep it there. Huh, 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 huh. Right? And again, just pronate slightly out, keeping it straight, but you're just slightly rotating the foot. So then when you're doing that step, 1, 2, 3, and 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 up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. But then in the future, this will be easier for things like bum, boom, boom, bum, right? You'll be able to have some speed build up and some strength, right? Because speed comes from control. True strength comes from control as well, because that means you more efficiently use the power you have in your muscles. Anything on the screen? Any questions? What's the time? The time? Let me see. Okay. So I think that's pretty much good for today. Anything you'd like to add? No. Okay, give me 1 second here. Okay. All right. So again, thanks for joining us tonight. This has been our second class regarding body movement for bachata and salsa. Again, we're only doing this until July 14th, so it'll be, I think, 2 more weeks of this. 2 or 3 more weeks of this, I forget. Yeah, just 2, I guess. And then from there, we're going to take a break. We've taken a break before, And we kind of just figured, well, mostly me, I figured that it's better to kind of just focus on other things for the time being, particularly which may be positive news for most of you, is I'm trying to focus on reopening perhaps mid-July, August sometime. I'm working really purposely to not repeat things that I've done in the past as far as getting in the same rut with the classes and things like that. Not that I have had that problem much, but it's just that I've been more mindful of what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and who I'm doing it for. And I've just had a lot of time to reflect on like where I find myself having the most impact and where the impact is appreciated, and realizing that a lot of people have different values and different things that they want in the dance industry, in the dance scene, and that you can't make everybody happy. But at the end of the day, those people that really align with the values and are appreciative of the space we provide, and how inclusive we are and how transparent we are, which is very something very important to me personally. Those people are the people that I'm going to try to really reach out to, support, and promote from here on out. I've personally taken this time again to decide for myself to kind of move on from a lot of things that I've had to deal with in the past in regards to, again, things in the scene. And not just say the scene is bad in any way, but just there's always been a lot of conflict, a lot of drama, a lot of things are very unnecessary and superfluous. And at the end of the day, it's like it just, especially during times like these, it's shown very clearly who really is there when the smoke clears out. And it's been very obvious that those people who perhaps weren't as, I would say, active and about it, those people have just returned to the same old thing, and I don't want people to think I'm that person, and I'm definitely working actively to not be that person. And so, long story short, me and Amanda are working on a lot of things. We've been reflecting a lot of stuff personally with the dance and things like that, and we're gonna be pushing different things in various ways. I'm working diligently with Amanda to give her more autonomy over her own classes, her own teaching methods, but also working with her to teach her a lot of the values that I think are important. Working on myself and my teachings as well, and revisiting things that I can do. And be tuned for workshops coming up again. I want to return to in-person classes, but I want to be able to give you guys the value you guys get in the classes, not just be like, hey, we're going to return like nothing ever happened. COVID didn't happen. We're going to just do group classes, except now we're going to charge more and limit it to like 10 people. I don't think that's fair. I think that's not right. And I think that's very blatantly like opportunistic. And yes, studios are struggling, but I'd rather people get more value for their time and be told honestly what they're doing and not exploit the people and not make it exclusive. I wanted to continue including students and people that have been part of my classes and who found a home in these classes that they felt were not for them because of past instructors or past instances. So thank you again, all you guys, for your support. Thank you for your donations, your contributions. It's helped a lot to give me some peace of mind. Again, I've never really thought I'd be here, 4 or 5 years before, but here I am now, and it's possible through help of your guys' support, through people like Amanda, who again I'm lucky to have and work with, and just pretty much just keeping it happy and light, but again still being honest and responsible for what we're doing. And again, at the end of the day, I think those of you who have wanted this sort of content have benefited greatly, and I think it shows that there are people who really appreciate what I do, and that I'm not the only one on this wavelength about what I want to do differently in Connecticut specifically. So stay tuned, stay updated. Meriden, New Haven, Bristol, Hartford are the performing places I'm thinking of coming back. So far it's looking like I may be coming back to Meriden and New Haven first, though there's a possibility of Bristol. If you guys have any leads on places that would be happy to have me, or places that are open to the public, and that I could do a class at, or a space that would be inviting to others, again, accessible, open, and it wouldn't be drama filled or anything that would seek to just make a profit or exploit people, just let me know. I'm happy to collaborate and figure out what's going on. So stay on the lookout. We'll be posting more videos, more content, and feel free to reach out to us for private lessons via Zoom or in person. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So see you guys next week. Have a great evening.